Have you ever stepped into a room and felt something shift? An almost imperceptible pause in the air? A flicker in someone's gaze? The subtle pull of attention drifting your way? Maybe no words were spoken, no heads turned overtly, but deep down you sensed it, that quiet question lingering in the air. Who is she? Society often insists that with age, we fade into the background, that our worth is tethered to the bloom of youth, to flawless skin, to the metrics of physical allure that dominate screens and magazines. But what if I told you something different? What if the kind of beauty that truly matters, the beauty that moves people, calms a room, and leaves a lasting impression, doesn't dim with age, but grows deeper, more magnetic, more commanding? What if you've already stepped into that kind of beauty without even realizing it? And if you're watching this, if you've made it this far, chances are you've felt it too. The curious glances, the lingering warmth of conversations, the inexplicable respect from strangers who don't even know your name. There are signs of timeless attractiveness that many older women overlook, not because they're invisible, but because they're so subtle, so embedded in who you've become, that you don't recognize them as signs at all. Today we're going to uncover them. And by the end of this journey, you may never see your own reflection the same way again. But hold on, because one of the signs we'll talk about is almost invisible, yet incredibly powerful. It's the kind of allure that people feel, but can't explain. It's the reason some people glance your way twice, without understanding why. The reason some strangers instantly trust you, and I promise, we'll get there. But not just yet. If you find meaning in stories like this, if you believe in celebrating the quiet elegance of age, in honoring senior beauty, in finding motivation, inspiration, and strength through life's later chapters, then take a moment now, like this video, subscribe to this channel, and stay connected. Because here we reflect on more than just outward appearance. We celebrate the life beneath the surface, the radiance of wisdom, the poetry of experience, and the health of the soul. Now, let's begin to peel back the layers of this invisible magnetism. One of the most powerful signs that your beauty hasn't diminished, but evolved is this. People no longer compliment just your looks, they compliment your presence. Think about that. In a world that so often reduces beauty to what can be captured in a selfie, real presence stands out like a lighthouse in the fog. When someone tells you, you're so calming to be around, or you have this energy that makes people feel good, they're touching something far deeper than cheekbones or dress sizes. Take Margaret Brooks, a retired teacher who, at 73, lives with a kind of unassuming grace that many strive their whole lives to achieve. Margaret never saw herself as particularly remarkable. She didn't wear flashy clothes, she didn't speak loudly, but everywhere she went, farmers markets, post offices, waiting rooms, people gravitated toward her. Children smiled for no reason, strangers opened up, shopkeepers lingered. And it wasn't about beauty in the traditional sense. It was the gentle power of a woman fully at home in her own skin. You see, presence is not taught, it's earned. It comes from decades of learning when to speak and when to listen. How to hold silence with dignity. How to offer warmth with. It's a radiance that doesn't compete, it comforts. And if people often seek your advice, sit a little closer to you, or say things like, I feel better just talking to you, don't brush it off. That is beauty, that is allure. That is what happens when time no longer erases your value, but polishes it into something rare. And yes, the surface signs may be there too. A smile that lights up your entire face, a laugh that fills a room, an ease in your movement that speaks volumes. But those are just the visible echoes of something much deeper. And very soon we'll reveal that hidden quality, the one that makes people glance back at you long after you've walked away. The one that says, there's something about her. But for now, just know this. If your presence comforts, if your energy inspires, if your calmness draws others in, you are already more radiant than you know. You're still here, which already tells me something quietly powerful. Deep within, you don't see your beauty as something fading in the rearview mirror. You sense it's alive, shifting, ripening with time. You sense, even if only faintly, that there's more to you now than ever before. And you're right. Today we're pulling back the curtain on two more signs, often overlooked but deeply revealing, that prove your attractiveness has only grown richer with age. And I urge you, stay with me until the very end, because the second sign we'll uncover explains something profound. It's the reason why years after a conversation, someone may still remember your face, your voice, your energy, without ever knowing why. They can't explain it, but they feel it. And when we get there, it just might reframe how you see every quiet glance, every lingering moment you've experienced lately. But before that, let's go deeper into something far more immediate. In a world saturated with noise, constant notifications, endless scrolling, and conversations that race past meaning, something as simple as eye contact has become rare and incredibly telling. If you've noticed people holding your gaze longer than most, leaning in when you speak, pausing to truly listen rather than simply waiting to respond, you're witnessing a powerful form of lure. One that doesn't scream for attention, but holds it. One that doesn't plead to be heard, but commands presence. This isn't just about confidence, it's about resonance. Take Linda Holloway, a 75-year-old retired history professor whose beauty never followed conventional rules. She never wore flashy clothes, never tried to keep up with trends, and yet wherever she went, libraries, churches, neighborhood gatherings, people listened. And not out of politeness. When Linda spoke, every word carried depth. Her stories weren't rehearsed, they were lived. Her voice, soft but sure, didn't dominate the room, but it anchored it. People leaned in, not just to hear, but to feel. Because her words weren't echoes from others, they were rooted in a life fully lived. That's what captivates. That's what draws people closer. It's why, when you're speaking and someone mirrors your expression or holds their breath just before you make a point, you're seeing evidence of mature magnetism. The kind of energy that doesn't diminish over time, it condenses, it concentrates. And science backs it up. Studies show that deep, emotionally present communication can make someone appear exponentially more attractive. More than makeup, clothes, or even facial symmetry. So if people remember what you say, if they pause before responding, if they seem a little brighter after your conversations, it's not a coincidence. It's connection. It's lived wisdom finding resonance. It's beauty in its most human, unforgivable form. And very soon we'll talk about something even more mysterious. Why strangers seem to notice you without realizing it, and why your presence lingers even when you're gone. But first, let's look at another kind of beauty. One we see in the mirror every day, but rarely recognize for what it truly is. Let's be real. Aging changes us, our skin, our hair, our shape. But somewhere along the way, culture twisted the truth. It told us these changes were flaws, but they're not. They're evolution. They're visible signs of resilience. So when someone compliments your skin, your hair, or your posture, they're not admiring a surface feature. They're responding to a lifetime of care, of discipline, of grace. Susan Martin, a 72-year-old retired nurse, understood this better than anyone. She didn't chase beauty trends or spend thousands on miracle serums. Her secret? Simplicity. Hydration, a daily walk, protecting her skin from the sun, loving herself through action, not appearance. And one day, in the middle of a farmer's market, a young woman stopped her just to say, "I hope I look like you when I'm your age." That wasn't flattery. That was admiration for someone who had allowed her health, her joy, and her habits to shine through her skin. That kind of glow, it can't be faked. And hair, let's talk about silver. So many women fear it. But silver isn't a law. It is the poetry of the body. When you carry yourself tall, not stiff, not tense, but grounded, it tells the world something without a single word. I know who I am, and I respect the journey that brought me here. People pick up on that. They might not say it, but they feel it. And here's the quiet truth behind it all. Your body tells your story. Even when you don't speak, it speaks. Every line on your face is a sentence. Every strand of gray is a chapter. And every graceful step is a song. It's the story of years survived, tears dried, battles won, and joys embraced. So when someone notices your glow, your calm, your strength, they're not noticing you in spite of your age. They're noticing you because of it. That's what timeless attractiveness looks like. That's what life lessons from the elderly etched into the body feel like to those around you. They may not have the words for it, but they'll never forget it. And remember what I said earlier about how some people remember you long after you've left the room, even if they never knew your name. Soon we'll uncover exactly why that happens and how to harness it in your everyday life. But for now, if anything here has resonated, if these reflections have stirred something in your heart, pause, like this video, subscribe, not because of an algorithm, but because your voice, your wisdom, your beauty deserve to be seen. We are not fading, we are rising. And this journey, it's only beginning. You've made it here, and that alone says more than you realize. While others skim headlines and scroll past, meaning you paused, you stayed. You chose depth over distraction. That tells me something sacred. You know there's more to your story, more to your reflection, more to your beauty than even you may have dared to admit. And now, here at the sum of our journey, we uncover the final truths, the hidden gravitational forces that pull people toward you without words. These last revelations are not about what meets the eye, they are about what stirs the soul. They reveal a beauty so rare, so commanding that it no longer asks to be seen, it simply is. Earlier, we teased the mystery. Why do some strangers remember you long after you're gone? Why do they glance, hesitate, linger? Now we'll answer, and by the end you won't just see yourself differently. So stay with me, this next truth might just change the way you walk through the world from this moment forward. Let's begin here. People respect and acknowledge your confidence. Let's be honest, society doesn't hand older women applause. It sells them invisibility, wrapped in wrinkle creams and silence. But something extraordinary happens when a woman, seasoned by life's battles and softened by its wisdom, walks into a room with the calm boldness of someone who no longer needs permission to exist. When that woman owns her presence, the room listens. That woman is you. Confidence at this age isn't loud. It doesn't need to be. It's a quiet thunder, the kind that rumbles beneath the surface and makes people sit up straighter without knowing why. Barbara Connors, a 74-year-old former executive, never tried to look young. She didn't need to. Her power came from her walk, her gaze, her silence. She didn't command attention. She earned it without ever asking. Because people can feel it when you've stopped shrinking to fit someone else's idea of value. And that energy, peaceful, grounded, whole, makes people respect you. Deeply, subconsciously. That's not ego. That's alignment. That's maturity woven into presence. And when your voice no longer wavers to please, when your steps no longer hurry to catch up, you radiate a kind of confidence that stops people mid-sentence. And here's the quiet magic. Even those who might ignore beauty rooted in youth will pause for the presence of a woman rooted in truth. That's the strength of senior beauty. That's the glow of lived clarity. But now we go even deeper. Because what if I told you your most captivating trait is something people feel, not something they see? This is the sixth sign you have a naturally warm and charismatic presence. Not the kind that shouts over a crowd, but the kind that settles a room. The kind that makes people open up without knowing why. If strangers confide in you, if friends say they feel lighter after talking with you, if people often come to you for advice, that's your charisma. That's your light. Take Diane Myers, a 71-year-old retired nurse. She didn't walk into rooms to be noticed. She walked in to notice. And somehow, without effort, people gravitated toward her. They laughed more freely, they shared more deeply. She did command with volume, she welcomed with presence. Her gift, listening, eye contact that wrapped others in safety. A smile that said you matter without ever using those words. Deanne wasn't trying to be charismatic. She was charismatic because she was real. In a world of performative smiles and curated personas, authenticity shines like gold. People feel it, they remember it, and they come back to it again and again. That's senior magnetism. It's not about being the center of attention. It's about being the center of gravity. It's rare, it's sacred, it's you. But now, let's unlock the final door. The one we've been circling from the beginning. The one that explains everything. The subtle glances, the lingering smiles, the invisible pull. Here it is. You catch people stealing glances at you. You know those moments across a cafe, in a grocery aisle, on a quiet park bench, when someone looks at you just a second longer than expected? Maybe they smile, maybe they say nothing, but you feel it. That's not in your head, that's not wishful thinking, that's energy, that's legacy, that's the glow of a woman who has lived. Because real beauty, the kind forged in heartbreak and healing, in laughter and loss, doesn't fade, it concentrates. It becomes visible in the way you walk, the way you pause, the way your eyes seem to say, I've seen life and I'm still here. Judith Spencer, a 69-year-old former attorney, noticed it everywhere. A gentleman holding the elevator, a team asking where her perfume was from, a cashier who hesitated not out of confusion, because awe. One day, a stranger leaned in and simply said, "You have an extraordinary presence." And that was the moment Judith realized. She wasn't imagining it, and neither are you. Those glances, they're real. That recognition, it's earned. You've become unforgettable. Final reflections. So now pause, breathe, Look inward. How many of these 7 signs do you see in yourself? Maybe just one, maybe all of them. Or maybe you've glimpsed a new self entirely. The world told you beauty had an expiration date, but every elder, every grandmother, every quiet soul who's lived long enough to know better, they've whispered a different truth. Beauty doesn't expire, it evolves, it deepens. It becomes soul deep. And you, right now, in this moment, you are radiant, you are compelling, you are everything time was supposed to take away, but instead, time gave you more. More depth, more presence, more truth. So if no one has told you today, you are beautiful, not in spite of your age, but because of it. Thank you for walking this path with me. And if these words stirred your spirit, I ask you one thing. Drop a comment below. Tell me which sign resonated with you the most. Your story, your truth may be the mirror someone else desperately needs. Until next time, walk tall, speak gently, shine boldly, and never forget you are the beauty the world didn't see coming, but desperately needs to remember.